record on this. Okay, so we have my husband, Shaun Speechly, here to talk, and I'm going to let him kind of share his side of the business. You guys all know me. Some of you have heard my story, but it's kind of sometimes good to hear a different perspective. So we are going to put it on speaker view and turn it over to Shaun talking. There you go. Okay. So this is Shaun Speechly, my husband, and I just want him to kind of tell his story, especially at the beginning, because some of you may not have people that are like gung-ho for Scentsy or gung-ho for direct sales or not in your family. And anyway, go ahead and tell your story of at the beginning, what you felt with me working the business.
Well, it's been a while since I've talked. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what Sarah really wants me to talk about. Sorry, I hurt myself on Saturday, so it hurts to sit and stand and all that fun stuff. So if I grimace, I apologize. So it's been a while since I've done this. And I'm not sure what kind of questions you might have, but when Sarah joined Scentsy, it was a long time ago, over
19 years.
19? Mm-hmm. So it was 19 years ago. She just went and joined. She didn't really, I don't remember if she asked me or not. She just did it. And I thought it would be this nice little hobby she could do. And never in a million years did I think she'd still be doing it 19 years later. And she ran with it. She dove into the business, and she was doing shows, doing parties, and spending a lot of time working, doing the things that Scentsy consultants do. And at the time we had young kids, I was busy doing my own thing, trying to support our young family, trying to pay the bills. I mean, it's what you do, right? But I would come home from working long hours, and she would go to a Scentsy party. And then I would have, after working 50, 60, 65 hours during the week, she would go off and disappear all day Saturday, and I had to watch the kids. It was exhausting for me, because I was like, what's the return on this? Why are you spending so much time doing this? And I really didn't grasp the vision, nor did I grasp the business at all. I was like, you're spending too much time, and the reward, yeah, you have some Scentsy friends, but it's not paying the light bill. It's not paying the mortgage. I can't bust my butt all week long, and and then come home and have to watch kids until all night long and all day Saturday. I need some like breathing room. Anyways, long story short, I wasn't really supportive. Okay. It was,
you did tell me to quit.
I did tell her to quit because she had an expensive hobby. Okay. She was spending more money than she was making.
I don't know if it's more money.
Yes, it was more money than she was making.
More time.
And then the amount of time she was putting into it was way more time than I thought she needed to put into it for the return on her efforts. And so we came to an agreement. We talked about it, and we came, I don't even remember what we decided, but she said she wouldn't work as much. And anyways, so she went we had our third child, and she was pregnant with our third child, and she went on bed rest. And back then, I mean, this is how long ago it was. Back then, Scentsy would mail the monthly commission check, and I remember getting it at the time, and because I had to take it, and remember, Sarah was on bed rest, like flat on her back, and she got a commission check, and I think it was like for $800. And this is back in, I don't know, this is a long time ago, when $800 really made a difference in our lives. And I'm not saying it doesn't now, but at the time it really made a difference. And I looked at it and I went, wait a minute, you made $800 and you've been lying on your back, flat on your back, and and wow, you made $800. And so I can't remember the next month or the following month after that, the check, every month I'd get a check and I'd have to go deposit it. And in one month it was like $1,000. And I was like, wow, well, what if she could just make an extra $1,000 a month every month? That would really take the pressure off our finances. It really helped with what was going on in our life at the time. I mean, an extra $1,000 on top of what I was making at the time, it was huge. It made an impact. And so I told her that. And then I think it was in November of that particular year, because at the time, November was like the biggest paycheck of the year. And I didn't know that at the time, but she got a paycheck. And remember, she'd been flat on her back for like 4 or 5 months. She couldn't leave the bedroom. I mean, the only time she left was to go to the doctor to go to the OB to get checked out to make sure everything was okay with our baby, who we were trying to keep in the oven. And anyways, she got a check, and it was $3,000. And I was like, well, what if she could just make $3,000 a month every month? That would really take the pressure off. Anyways, so my mind was wrapped around money at the time. I'm a finance kind of person. I'm a investment kind of person. I like money. I not that I like money. I just I I like the possibilities of money and creating options for our family financially. Options are good. And so going through that experience really opened my eyes as to what the possibilities could be with Scentsy. And what Sarah did during that time while she was flat on her back, I mean, she literally did not leave the bedroom except to go to the bathroom or go to the doctor's office. And she worked on her computer. She reinvented her business from the computer. And at that time, there was no Facebook. There was no, it's different these days. But she found a way to run her Scentsy business the way that she wanted to, through the computer, through online, through connecting people online, recruiting through online, selling online, and doing basket parties and things like that. And she continued to do that. And when she got done with the bed rest and we had our baby, and that was a long time ago because our youngest child is 16 now, so many years ago. She continued to work. She went back to the way she was working her business before, like doing parties and basket parties and events and things like that. And then, as you know, Sarah's had health challenges, and the health challenges have really limited her ability to be mobile. Walking is very difficult. Getting around is difficult. And so that put her back to square one again, where she had to reinvent her business again. And it was really hard to do events and really hard to go to people's houses to do home parties. and I know today's a little bit different than back then, but she took these challenges, and it didn't stop her from excuse me, reinventing herself. Or these roadblocks didn't stop her. And when I saw the income, now it didn't stay. November was the biggest paycheck of that particular year, and then we dropped back down to a lower amount. And but as she continued to work and grow, recruiting and selling, recruiting, her paychecks became more stable, and became, she fulfilled my request of getting at least $3,000 a month every month. And that was a huge impact on our lives. Now, obviously she's a superstar director now, and she continues to excel, and continue to develop her business. But for me to go from like, I wouldn't say I was unsupportive, but I wasn't really the biggest cheerleader. Um, I really thought that there was no way for her to make, for the amount of time that she was putting into it. I didn't feel like she could get a financial reward from that. And I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And I think this rule applies, is consistently recruiting. I mean, this business, it comes down to two things, and it's simple. It's consistently recruiting month in, month out, and selling, you know, a minimum of 500 PRV every month, but shooting for at least, you should, I mean, in the world of Scentsy, 2000 PRV should be the minimum, because you get more money by selling 2000 PRV. You get a higher commission rate instead, and so Sarah's worked towards that, to consistently get 2000 PRV every month of personal sales. And then she consistently, still to this day, recruits every month. In fact, I think it, I don't know. I asked her, I says, when was the last time you haven't recruited somebody in a month? And
This was when I was doing my talk for SFR. He asked me that because I was telling him what I was talking about. And we had to go back. I think it'd been
I don't know.
6 years.
It's been years
that I had 0 recruits.
And so, I mean, I'm not trying to put Sarah on a pedestal or anything, but she talks the talk and she walks the walk. She does it month in and month out. And she's successful doing it because it's about consistency. And it's like that in any business. In my business, in insurance, it's the same two things. You've got to have sales, and you got to watch your laps can. And in Scentsy, your laps can is recruiting, and you've got to push sales. I mean, it's a lot of businesses are like that. So, anyways, anything else you want me to say?
Just one thing. So people who are more at the beginning of their business, I mean, we kind of talked at the beginning. I was doing parties. A lot of times I would flip my parties if they wanted to join. So I think that's why he was like, wait a minute, you went and did a party and you didn't make anything out of it because you gave it to them and you got them to recruit. So he didn't see the vision at the time, right? He's glad I don't listen to him and didn't quit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If she would have listened to me, you would not know who Sarah is today.
Yep.
She wouldn't be doing this.
And we discussed, I think it's important in any relationship, whether it's a spouse, boyfriend, family member, whatever, we balanced what worked. I think we limited how many parties I could do in a month, and I could only do like one show a month.
We had young kids.
So we worked it out.
We were in the thick of it. And today it's totally different.
But I think the biggest thing for some of you who are new. You may get one or two recruits, and you may see you get very little commissions off those one or two recruits, or three, or, you know, but it can snowball. And I think that's what I wanted you to see, a different perspective. You may hear me talk about recruit wide. You never know who's going to do what. You know, you can get 10 recruits. I know a lot of you've heard my 10 recruits. One might be go-getter. 3 or 4 may just be hobbyists. 3 or 4 may do nothing. Some may roll off. That's kind of that's what direct sales is. That's what any of these companies are. So you just got to keep recruiting, and don't just stop at 1 or 2. Keep recruiting, and you can get the residual income.
I think the biggest, I mean, it if you're happy making whatever you're making, then that's one thing, and probably not, because you're all here on this call. But it is possible to hit your income goal, whatever that might be. Is it $1,000 a month? Is it $3,000 a month? Is it $10,000 a month? I don't know what your income goal is, but the consistency of recruiting and shoot. I mean, I think we used to say like recruit 2 to 3 a month, every month, new recruits 2 to 3, and sell 2,000 a month.
That was kind of the
if you can
jump start. If you really want to
consistently do that over a 2, 3, 4, 5 year period, you'll never look back, and it'll change your life. And so, I mean, I think that was the biggest change. Is, you know, it doesn't pay off in 1 month or 2 months or 6 months,
1 or 2 years,
or 1 year.
It takes time.
But it does pay off in the long after that. And getting to, like, for me, like, once Sarah was like consistently making $1,000 a month at that time in our lives, it really took the edge off. It really helped our young family finances, and allowed us to go out to dinner extra 1 time a month. We like to go out to dinner. So,
or travel,
or, you know, maybe go on an extra family vacation, or whatever, you know. But it's all about consistency.
So we only have a few minutes left. Do you have any questions? So type in questions in the chat if you do. This is the one time I don't think you've spoken. He used to speak often. It's been many years since you've gotten on the call.
I honestly, I cannot remember the last time you asked me to talk.
In a long time. So, but I think it's good to kind of see different perspective. It's been so long he can't read anymore. He needs his readers.
I'm old enough where I need readers. Pathetic.
Shaun, what is your favorite part about Scentsy? Like, what do you get from it as a spouse?
What do I get? I think that answer's changed over the years. Right now, I've let Sarah just run this. I'm not as involved as I used to be. But I like going on the trips, you know. So
he's over the finance part. He does all the accounting, finance, taxes.
I like the trips. You know, when Sarah earns, I mean, we've been, Scentsy sent us a lot of places, all over the world, and it's incredible. Who would ever thought that we would be
a little candle business that you didn't think would
we would go to, you know, Europe. We've been to Europe like 3 times because since Sarah, you know, she worked her little tail off, but she earned a trip. We've been all over the United States, and the other thing that's cool is we have friends pretty much anywhere across the United States and Canada, and UK, and in UK, and you know, so that's been fun. It's neat.
And I know Stacy talked about a lot of newer consultants are trying to balance life, kids, and time. And that's something we had to learn, our balance. But putting the time in, being consistent, whether it's you're just doing a few parties a month, maybe 1 event a month. I think that's what we had to scale down and figure out. But figure out what works for you. And then again, life may change. Like Shaun said, when I got put on bed rest, I had to reestablish my business. I had to go more online. And yes, in 2007, online was very different. I was doing Yahoo groups. A lot of you probably are too young to even know what Yahoo groups are. But there was different ways that I learned to work my business. And that was kind of the biggest thing is you figure out what works for your business. You figure out what's working for your life at
I
that
think
time.
I think it's important to set monthly goals,
Mhm.
and like I said, you know, are you getting 1 to 2 recruits a month? Are you getting 2,000 PRV? That that
Or
should,
whatever their goal is.
that should be, I mean, if you really want to get to the point where you're growing your business, get to director, get to superstar director or star director, whatever. If you're doing that and you're teaching people to do that, you're gonna hit those goals. I mean, in today's world, Sarah knows for the most part that on the first day of the month, she's gonna get a minimum of 2,000 PRV. It's just gonna happen because she's built the processes to get that done. And she's constantly looking to recruit as well.
Someone just asked any advice on recruiting. I don't know if
I
you'd give that.
I
That'd be me. And I
that's
have a whole
Sarah.
nother training on that. Ask. If you don't ask, someone else will.
I will say
We will do a game on recruiting that is really big on that. We don't have time this time. That's a whole nother, I
the
can talk for hours.
the only thing I'd say about recruiting is if you have a chance to flip the party to a new recruit, do it. You
Okay.
never know who they will recruit, and you never know what they'll do. They might just be a dud, but they may be the one that recruits your next
And
star.
we had that. There was one
Yeah.
girl I would do a party for once a year. Eventually, after 2 years of her doing a party, she recruited, or maybe it was a year, or she joined. She didn't do much other than that one party still a year, but she got one recruit who became a director and who was a rock star. So
So
you never know.
I recruiting is where you've got to recruit in order to make the the bigger money.
Okay. And she asked, when money was tight, how did you justify doing thank you mails? I'll be honest, my thank you mail was very different back then. It was a lot cheaper. I would just do with a stamp versus now I can send some samples. I still try to get it under a stamp because mail is expensive. I try to get everything as flat as can be with samples. But you know what? Nowadays, texting and just thinking and following up with customers is just as big as your happy mail.
And you will
So.
never hear us say, don't spend money you don't have.
Yes,
You
for
know,
sure. And I think
no.
you always say don't spend more than 20% of what you're making back into your business. So don't overspend. And I think that's another thing we had to work on back then is okay, you're making this much, let's take this much back and put into the business. And
Yeah,
that's
you
something
gotta
we
you, you
changed.
gotta you, you gotta enjoy a little bit of your fruits of your labor.
And I think that's how I got him more involved when he started getting some money. And okay, hey, look, we got some extra spending money. That's when he started seeing. So that's important. What is your best recruiting tip? I do a lot. I talk a lot about it, but they say it takes too much work or they don't have time and they will just support me. Just keep asking, you know what? And they may not want to recruit right then and there. Ask someone else. Ask if they know someone who's interested. I have lots of recruiting tips. The best thing that I say is use that host exclusive kit. I use that all the time. If you have 10 parties, go, how many parties have you done this month? You should have that many recruits. I always offer that host exclusive kit, either to the host or if they're my orders that I'm putting in, I will offer that. I will bless someone with my host rewards and offer that kit because that is a great way to get someone to join your team and really grow your team. I will be doing another call next month on recruiting, so we can do more on that.
I won't be here.
One, yes, Carmen said, one no today could be a yes later. And like I said, with that one person who would just do one party, maybe it was once every 6 months. I don't know. you just keep asking. You know what? You would have made this much. If you guys know me, every single customer that I have placed an order, every single time I put thank you so much, shouting from the rooftops, thank you for your orders. I may have it down here somewhere. Um,
The worst thing somebody can say is no.
I don't
Move
know.
on. Don't let it hurt your feelings.
Let's see.
And I
Anyway,
mean, you're in this is the sales business ultimately.
it's in the other
So
room,
just
but
just move on.
on here. Anyway, I always say thank you for your online, thank you for your order. By the way, do you know you could have made this much if you were a consultant? I send that every single time I get an order. And then when I get one or two, I follow up with them. Hey, just checking if you'd like to join. You know, I feel guilty taking commissions from you. You can get commissions on your own sales plus family and friends. Are you interested? No? Okay. I'll ask again in a year. Keep asking. You never know. Okay, we are over time. Any other questions for Shaun about getting someone supportive or whatnot? Again, even Orville has taught, you know, set a little aside. You know, we talked about setting aside a little small amount to put back into your business. Set a small amount aside for your husband or your family so they see the benefits of your work and they will be more involved. Like, wow, you've set aside this much. Now we can go out to dinner, or we can go on a vacation or whatnot. Sometimes that is what will make others in your family more supportive. And again, be consistent with your business and don't give up. It's not right away. It can take, depending how much time you're putting in, it can take years. But it is an amazing business opportunity. I promise you that. You would have never thought I'd be where I am. I've never done sales before. In fact, he works in sales and he asked if I'd work for him. And I'm like, no, I don't do sales. I can't do that. Here I am in sales anyway. But it's because it's a passion. I love Scentsy. Share your love for Scentsy and help others find their passion for Scentsy too. So anyway, I think that's it. So thank you everyone for getting on the call. And I will see you in 2 weeks because next week is Memorial Day.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
See ya.